We have risen from the ashes to school the masses.
Risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars Wrestling Show, episode 358. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. To my left, right, whatever it's showing up on your screen, the one and only undisputed scholar himself. You know him, you love him. He is Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing wonderful this evening, good fool. And it comes to which side you're on, you are on my left. Where am I to you?
And you are on my left, so maybe you'll show up there on the playback. Who knows?
Probably.
But anyway, you know who we are. We're the Scholars of Wrestling. You're here for another week of wrestling discussion. And there's quite a bit to talk about this week, including tournaments aplenty in the wrestling world. So let's just dive right into it. We are approaching the finals of both the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournament. Both are scheduled to conclude at next week's event in Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel. And the results have been, let's say, mixed in terms of fan feedback that at least that I've been seeing. Let's talk about King's Crown. That's not a thing. King of the Ring, first and foremost, right out of the gate. Fool, I'll pitch it over to you. What have your thoughts been so far on the King of the Ring tournament, and where do you see it going from here?
I think it really just depends on who actually wins this tournament. I feel when it comes to with what you said of these tournaments being mixed bags, it's very less so mixed bag. It's actually been a very positive feedback on the tournament when it comes to the King of the Ring tournament itself. Granted, I didn't watch the Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn tonight, so I can't really make a judgment. But I am perfectly confident that those two could actually put on a great match if they were given the time, which is the King of the Ring tournament. So these obviously are going to get a good amount of time going. I'm looking forward to Xavier Woods versus Jinder Mahal because I guess it's just the story of wow, I just blanked out now. What's the match that's happening at on Raw for the King of the Ring tournament for the semis? Jinder Mahal
and Xavier Woods.
And Xavier, I don't know why I was just blanked out on everyone in that last match. Wow, shame on me. But yeah, the whole Xavier Woods story of he's been wanting a King of the Ring tournament for what? How long now? Like
since he was a kid.
So the idea of now Finn Balor versus Xavier Woods by itself is just so much fun storytelling, but hopefully they're not going to want to go with a heel versus face finals with Jinder Mahal stealing this victory and giving us the crowd what we want, but it's WWE, so it's most likely going to happen anyway. I wouldn't have it be against them. Hope for the best, expect the worst.
Yeah, and this is kind of, to me personally, this is what sucks, really, because I am completely enraptured by this current storyline that Xavier Woods is putting out there. Like, he's been putting on all over his social media, his Twitter profiles. He'll bring it up whenever it's mentioned that his goal, his highest aspiration since he was a kid, was to win King of the Ring. And it's so endearing to the point where I personally would love to see this happen. Like when I think of the New Day being one of the most consistently good delivering acts of this modern era in WWE, I see what Kofi had done. You gave him the ball, he ran with it, you got Kofi Mania, and you got like literally the match of the night at that year's WrestleMania. Big E, same deal. Had the size, had the charisma. He got over naturally. It was the right place, right time, right guy. Boom,
Now
WWE champion. Exactly. Xavier Woods, I feel like they would need to build him up more and give him the right storyline for him to be WWE champion on equal footing. And that even if he does deliver, he would have to deliver hard. I'm just not convinced that that's going to be in the cards in the same way that would be for Kofi and Big E, which is why I think it would be a show of good faith on WWE's part. And not for nothing, I feel like he would be able to take that ball and run with it as well. I think what they should do, and what I'm pulling for, honestly, is that you get Xavier Woods as King of the Ring. If they are going to give each individual member of the New Day something individual to do, this seems perfect for Kofi, Xavier. At least make his time with WWE complete. You're never going to, obviously, it doesn't seem likely at all that they're going to put the WWE title on them. So why not give him King of the Ring? He can deliver consistently.
And honestly, if they are just going to give him a singles belt with King of the Ring, have him go for at least, because he's got to be on SmackDown, the Intercontinental Championship. Have him go for it and have that be his crowning achievement. Because I agree with you wholeheartedly. I love Xavier Woods, but WWE, I don't think is ever going to give one of the top titles to Xavier. You're right. He's not on the same footing as Kofi and Big E are in WWE's eyes. And I'm not even really saying that as a bad thing. Just, he could be basically the one guy who basically adds just another singles title. He adds the Intercontinental Championship as one of the other achievements that the New Day has gotten.
And you see here, I've thought of that, but I feel like even then that could be a potential stretch considering who they seem to be putting the mid-card titles on, including the Intercontinental Championship. But I think about again, before he's ever had any inclination to do so, all I keep drifting to is how Xavier keeps addressing this matter of King of the Ring, about how much it means to him, how much he loves it, how it's just like it was his favorite thing when he was a wrestling fan growing up. A lot of the same kind of talk I've heard, it seemed very similar to what people were saying about the Intercontinental title, where because it was the workhorse championship, it delivered these consistently good matches and exciting moments. It almost seems to me like that is his Intercontinental title, and that is his goal. Like he can take that and elevate it back to a new level, or at least maybe somewhere close to what it used to be considered as, where he can take this guy who wasn't doing much at all, who needed something to do, and then boom, you make him win the King of the Ring, and it brings back the excitement, the passion, and the prestige. I honestly believe that Xavier Woods can do that.
And what better way to have the King of the Ring continue to elevate that of what it used to be by giving him the Intercontinental Championship as just another stepping stone, just adding more to continuing, because Xavier Woods is the perfect example of the workhorse. I mean, he has the up, up, down, down. He's been tag team champions multiple times with Kofi and Big E. I want him to have a singles title. I don't want him just to be stuck with the one that just only had tag team championship reigns. And the Intercontinental Champion is just basically that final milestone that he can get out of this, because I don't think they're going to give him Money in the Bank or Royal Rumble win as another outside of the championship that he can get. And honestly, I don't want to see him with the United States Championship and that's just for me personally, because I just look at that one as just the European title ranking as just the third tier title compared to the second tier title of the Intercontinental Championship.
Which is why I'm thinking that because of the King of the Ring, especially this year, seems to be outside of that title tier perception, if that makes sense. I feel like regardless of whether or not he ever actually gets the Intercontinental title, I feel like even if he never does, which to be frank with you, I think he should get it. he'd be a great fit for the title.
Shinsuke versus Woods for the Intercontinental Championship.
That would be great.
That is just a nonstop party.
Yeah, but even if that never happens, and let's say Xavier's contract is coming up and he wants to move on or retire, whatever, I feel like, given the perception that WWE has among some fans of just being like this cold corporate structure, I feel like
it is
offering, yeah, agreed.
You can't deny it. It's like, oh yeah, they're just, yeah, because it's true.
I'm trying to be kind here, but the point being,
they're not kind to us, so they don't deserve the kindness that we give to them.
The kindness is not for them. The kindness is for the fan who is still enjoying the WWE product.
It's for the fan who's enjoying the wrestlers who's providing the product, not the people, not the corporate that's thinking these stories are actually very good.
The point being is, in my view, there is a very serious lack of goodwill coming from WWE right now. And I feel like just this little step of giving a ball to Xavier Woods in the form of the King of the Ring win, I feel like that is a good, not only a fair move to make, but also a smart move to make in order to get people back into and be able to invest in these kinds of long-term storylines again.
Well, the only way it can really be a long-term storyline is really two options, and one works better than the other, because the other is just do what they've been doing to past King of the Ring winners and just have it be King Corbin, King Sheamus, King who's pretty much just a repeat, or King Barrett. Lee Barrett won it, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he won it. Pretty much just another carbon copy of King Booker. King Booker. So I want, like, if they go, that's the only other way to really keep that whole fact that he's King of the Ring alive, of the bad side of it. That, like, oh, he's King of the Ring. He'd say, oh, I've always wanted to be king. No, I'm a king, and that's my character now. I'm king. Where instead it's just, okay, it's not just I changed my character to be king. I won the tournament. This is where I go. I think I've rightfully earned that spot to actually be in the Intercontinental title picture. If they just don't do anything, like if they don't do something like to that extent, it's either just going to be he's just the guy who won the King of the Ring, and now he's just back to being a tag team with Kofi, or he's just King Woods, King Xavier, King XW. Hail me.
I do see what you're saying here, but there's one dimension of it that maybe I'm seeing that not many other people are, and that just even if let's be real, I'm absolutely convinced they will be doing something with Xavier Woods' King of the Ring win here. But one thing that I think would happen with Woods's King of the Ring win that wouldn't happen with any other person in the tournament is that his win will be an end to itself. Now, what I mean by that is, again, turning to Xavier Woods's campaign to be King of the Ring, how much he's wanted it, all this talk online and offline about wanting so badly to be King of the Ring. A win would be two things. It would not only be a stepping stone for the next wave of storylines, which very well could lead to an Intercontinental title feud at the very least.
That's what they should get out of this tournament, other than just a crown and a cape and a scepter. And just and bragging rights that he did it. I mean, there's only so far he can go with that same beat.
Which is why I'm saying, here's my point. Point is, this is the Xavier Woods title win would serve two purposes, not just one. Not only would this be the kickoff to the next feud, which, like you said, in all hopefulness, would be something like an Intercontinental title feud in the future or something like that. And number two, rather, what it also does is that it brings a satisfying conclusion to the tale of him constantly chasing and desiring and wishing that the King of the Ring would come back. That would also, it would simultaneously be an ending, a satisfying, a fan-pleasing ending to that story, while also serving as a jumping off point to any future title pitches. Does that make sense?
Yeah. There's so many possibilities, and hell, we don't even talk about the possibility of Finn Balor actually winning it as well, because they're planning on having him be one of the top. Him and Big E are like considered to be the top faces of Raw. So,
as much as I feel like Finn Balor doesn't need it, he's enough of an established name in his own right. As much as I personally would prefer Xavier Woods, I wouldn't even say it would be a bad choice to give Finn Balor King of the Ring.
That's just one of the matches that's just a win-win for both parties. As long as, again, they don't change their characters to, now I am the king, I now change my character completely and you must bow to me. Hell, if anything, if Finn Balor wins it, have him only come out when he's the demon and it's like a thorny, dark crown, because since most of the people like to customize their crowns anyway.
That would be an interesting thing, but
he doesn't wear the normal stuff. He doesn't wear like this cape or scepter. It's all like, and they don't even really focus on it. It's just an additional accessory.
Well, it looks like you're slowing down. It looks like you may have frozen on us, fool. Can you hear us? Did we lose you? Okay, that isn't good. It looks like we may have temporarily lost Tarek for a moment. In the meantime, I definitely see what he's saying about the possibilities of a Finn Balor King of the Ring, especially if we're talking like a sort of this demon infused kingly, like come to think of it, he was known as Finn Balor was known as the Demon King. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. In the meantime, it looks like we have lost Tarek. Bear with me for one quick second. We're going to put a pause to this episode, and we're going to see if we can get him back. And we're back. All right. Glitches seem to be worked out. We're back. And now we're here ready to talk about the remnants of the first ever Queen's Crown tournament and all of its flaws and joys and all. Fool, I'm going to pitch it right over to you. Be blunt. What do you think of the tournament so far?
It's a complete 180 on how WWE is treating this tournament. Combined matches all together. Like I said, I missed SmackDown, so I don't know how long that Carmella Zelina Vega thing actually was. I don't know if it was like just a minute, like all the other women's matches.
I think someone timed it out just under 2 minutes.
That's still no good. This is like the major flaw in WWE, just showing how much they don't care, or like, because when you see what happens when they do care, because they like the product is actually pretty entertaining. I mean, like what we were just discussing with the King of the Ring tournament, certain storylines that are happening in WWE television, like the only thing that I was able to see was the contract signing of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. And that was just fun. Mainly on Brock Lesnar's end. Both guys were all the people that are in there acted it very well. And it's the story when the people who are actually in the storyline are involved with the creativity in it. But to this Queen Crowns tournament, this is just a story. This is not the least wrestling thing on this wrestling show.
Yeah, unfortunately, I absolutely agree with that. it seems like we're going back to the bad old days now that Johnny Laurinaitis is back, and the Bruce Pritchards of the world. They
Well,
seem
I
to
called
be
that
put.
when Bruce Pritchard was announced as the head creative on both shows. I'm like, yeah, well, we all know what this means. I mean,
I
I
didn't
will
want to
give.
believe it though. I really
Oh,
did not.
I was like, oh, well, that's it. We're done. WWE sucks now, and it pretty much became that the second. I'm like, yep, there we go. It's nice to be right sometimes on this matter, but I will give WWE credit. They don't really do that with Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks. They're actually trying with that because apparently those are the only four. And then when Bayley comes back, she'll be added to that too. She'll be the only one that's actually really worth a damn. But really, the only thing that I really hope to come out of this is just something that I read and saw highlights of what happened on SmackDown tonight of the union between Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler as hopefully as like a mouthpiece and just as no tag team. Sonya Deville just stays as like pretty much the Paul Heyman to Shayna Baszler's Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns, whichever way you want to go on it. And that Shayna Baszler just destroys everyone in this tournament and actually uses it not as as what we were talking about before of just the King of the Ring gimmick as just now this is just an achievement of leveling her to that next leveling her to that next level of worth that she can actually be in the ring with the 4/5 women that I talked about before.
Yeah, I feel like this is very much an unusual situation where, in my mind, this really doesn't seem to be taking shape in the traditional sense, where I was expecting Carmella to be a front runner and end up winning the entire thing. But as we saw on tonight's episode of SmackDown, we actually got her losing to Zelina Vega. Now we got Zelina Vega facing either Doudrop or Shayna Baszler in the finals, which given her treatment, I'm a little surprised that she got it. I'm glad she did though.
I'm convinced that Doudrop and Shayna Baszler is going to be the one women's match in this tournament that's actually going to be longer than 3 minutes.
I truly hope so. I really do.
Because I think both those competitors are fully capable. Just how we've seen, wow, she hasn't been Doudrop that long, and I've already forgotten her. Piper
Niven, previously Viper.
Yeah. Again, I'm like, oh, this is the shit why I stopped watching WWE because they're just planting this terrible Doudrop name in my head. We know what she's capable of. And we know what Shayna Baszler is capable of in her time with NXT. So I think, yeah, this is more of going to be the more finals of this tournament than the actual finals. I mean, if anything, we're going to get again more of a storylines told of Zelina versus. Again, this is now me going with what I hope because I don't see Doudrop winning it.
So, just to bring it full circle, and again to sort of move us on to our immediate future next week in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel. Looking ahead just a moment, who do you see winning this Queen's Crown tournament? Before all the preliminary matches are done, who do you see going on to eventually win this thing?
Well, before tonight, it was going to be Carmella. Like what you said and what we've discussed actually before we started recording this whole thing. I just see Vince McMahon trolling everyone and just thinking, they're just going to give it to Carmella as the first. They gave her the first Money in the Bank. Might as well give her the first Queen's Crown tournament as well. But now this is just more of what I want to happen. This is more of a heart than a head thing, where what I was saying before, I want Shayna Baszler to win it, and this new formed alliance between Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler this tournament will be Shayna Baszler's Queen's Crown tournament win compared to Brock Lesnar's King of the Ring tournament win back in 2002. Just that level thing. Like she's hell, knowing Shayna Baszler, she's probably going to step on that crown. She's going to put it on the floor and step on it and be like, okay, it's just the title. I show you how dominant I am. I'm now ascending to that next level where I can face off against Bianca Belair. I can face off against Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch and Charlotte. Because we all know Shayna Baszler can do it. And hopefully this new thing of breaking everyone's arms of all the stupid shit in the women's division, which is Nia Jax's recklessness and Mahal, and she's starting to do the stink face now because of her big butt. And Eva Marie, need I say more? So hopefully this will be her Stone Cold or Triple H winning the King of the Ring tournaments. Not in the equivalent of Billy Gunn, where it just means absolutely nothing.
Speaking of Billy Gunn and the King of the Ring, do you want to place any preliminary bets on who you think is actually going to win the King of the Ring for the men this year?
I honestly don't know. Honestly, I probably would give it to Finn Balor. As much as as much as it would be amazing for Xavier Woods and it would be a good fairy tale ending for him. Again, I guess this is now just more of a heart over head thing. Head and heart would probably pick Xavier Woods, but I just full on just emotion. I kind of want Finn Balor. Hell, actually really thinking about it, they're both head and heart things. Just thinking, okay, who benefits more if they're trying to do this like the old school King of the Ring, where these people winning it actually elevate? And I feel like between the two, it's Finn Balor who would actually benefit from it more, as being a guy who may have won the Universal Championship the first night, but not that whole. It's like, okay, well, he got injured. I don't see him as a top star now because he got injured. I actually think it's like, okay, he's doing very well. He's putting on fantastic matches. He's put on fantastic matches with everyone. You need top baby faces. You need to actually build people. And between the two of people who I can see being WWE champion, or it would be Finn Balor.
I see your argument. Personally, I'm going to be taking a different school of thought when it comes to this. I'm going to say Xavier Woods. Yes, part of that is my heart, but also I'm also thinking ahead. We're talking about Crown Jewel here, and we seem to be dealing with an audience who can really appreciate things like honor and tradition and legitimate sport and the pageantry of it all, where I can see in this particular setting, I can see them getting away with a face versus face for that matter. And I feel like if Xavier Woods were to win, not only would that elevate him on a major stage, but I really don't think it's going to hurt Finn Balor at all, because he still has the demon persona to fall back on. If he just wrestles as Finn Balor and loses to Xavier Woods, he should still theoretically be fine, because he can tap into that demon Finn Balor for any future feuds or matches. He doesn't lose any steam at all, and he's still a main event level credible threat. So I'm going to follow my heart, and that, according to that logic, I'm also going to go with Xavier Woods ultimately winning the thing.
Trust me, again, it's a win-win for us, really, because both guys can really benefit with this win. But you also got to look at the fact that a rope snap hurt demon Finn Balor. That whole thing with Roman Reigns hurt Finn Balor. And I don't think the demon can come back. I don't think like another loss can come back from that. I feel Finn would actually be hurt in the loss more, to be taken seriously as a top contender compared to, as much as I love Xavier, I don't see him as a top contender, at least under WWE's formula at all.
All right. Well, elsewhere, while we're looking ahead to Crown Jewel, is there anything else you'd like to see happen at Crown Jewel?
After tonight's SmackDown, Brock Lesnar actually winning it. I'm sorry. This is like the most troll Brock Lesnar I've ever seen, and I actually kind of love it.
Again,
it's
you're
so
not
much
wrong.
fun
It's
storytelling.
still throwing me off a little bit, though. I admit.
There's just so. I'm kind of done with Roman. His character is great, and I feel like nobody really benefits losing, or no one loses anything losing, and I just feel like Roman has proven his point. He needs a knockdown. He's too high up to where it's actually really hurting WWE.
You're not wrong.
And if they're planning on continuing this feud, I'm sorry, but that there is more. If they're actually still planning on continuing this feud, which they are, since The Rock is unavailable for Survivor Series, you can't have it be a one-sided thing. Plus, there's the whole rumor going around that the match is gonna end in some kind of shenanigans anyway. Probably has something to do with Paul Heyman, since that's the main focus of this feud, apparently, or he is. But yeah, if you're planning on keeping this storyline going, you can't pull a Kevin Owens and just have him lose and lose again. And I know we've had Brock Lesnar beat Roman Reigns every time in the past, except Seth Rollins cash-in. But at this time, it's a different Roman than it was however many years ago.
Yeah, this is telling me that maybe there's going to be a fair more amount of depth to Crown Jewel than maybe a lot of us were thinking. But even before we even get to Crown Jewel, we still had a very interesting night of television. Just even tonight, right before we were going to hop on and start recording this episode, we had a episode of SmackDown that ran 30 minutes over. We had a Rampage buy-in show on YouTube, which went up at 9:00, an hour before Rampage, and it just so happened to feature the absolutely explosive match of Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki. At the same time, when I was looking at what was happening on SmackDown, not only was it the 2-minute Queen's Crown match between Carmella and Zelina Vega, but it was also without sound. Yeah, for whatever reason, my cable feed had no sound whatsoever. And I think I even made a trash talking post on Twitter, like, can you blame me for blatantly preferring one company over the other when this is what we get? A 2-minute women's match that doesn't mean anything versus a dream match in Bryan Danielson and Minoru Suzuki. There is no comparison.
Oh, there really is no comparison. And CM Punk versus Matt Sydal was very good as well on the actual Rampage.
Big time.
I actually am really looking forward to seeing how these numbers are tomorrow, because it's the whole story of this is the first time AEW is actually going against main roster shows of WWE, and it's funny. Like when I was talking with some friends about this, I compared it to when TNA decided to go up against Monday Night Raw, and it's like, oh, you guys are you TNA wrestling. You guys think you're cute that you can be on our level. Here, we're just gonna throw Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels to open up that your debut Monday.
I remember
episode.
that. That was, oh man, that was a thrashing.
That was just an immediate sit down. But compared to how this is chess. This was chess to TNA's checkers. Vince McMahon's like, we're throwing a extra half an hour of SmackDown commercial free with Brock Lesnar. And then you have Tony Khan be like, oh yeah, that's good. That's good. That's cute. I like that. Here we go. Let's have a buy-in show on YouTube that has Suzuki, and Danielson. This is like full on like chess between WWE and AEW. And I kind of want to look at it as friendly competition, just especially how much Tony Khan is actually now starting to have fun at trash talking Vince McMahon.
Which is sort of leading into my ongoing theory at this point, where a lot of people are still poring over ratings every single week. But in reality, when you see stuff like this, I don't think this war is going to come down to week by week ratings in the same way that the Monday Night Wars did. I see this happening more in the realm of consumer confidence about the long term, about ticket sales, about video game sales, about how many views you've got on YouTube, how many views you've got on conventional cable for your respective shows. And there is something we've said for social media presence as well. Like, the only thing we haven't gotten clear numbers yet, but we do have the trending tab on Twitter, and apparently from last I checked, the AEW Rampage was trending much higher than WWE was tonight. So,
and that's a very good thing. And it's because like you said, it's not going to affect anyone really. It's not going to affect any company in a bad way, because both companies are actually doing very well. They're very healthy companies. This is not just it's now at that point where it's no longer a ratings war doesn't matter. It's just a small battle to something bigger, where back in the 90s, the ratings was the war, because that's all we had, because social media wasn't a thing. Now that we have all this new stuff, it's expanded so much that both companies can really thrive on this. And I've even had discussions on I not only with some outside friends, but even on this show, when I threw that Scholars Quick Talk about NXT 2.0 lasting till 2023. And the whole discussion on would NXT actually do better as kind of like their answer for AEW Dark, and having it be a YouTube series instead of Peacock, throwing it on Peacock, where most people have been kind of arguing me with that. It's like, if they're going to put it on social media, put it on Peacock. But I feel like it would work better. NXT would work better as their YouTube streaming show, which to be fair, their NXT is their AEW Dark. So
I can see where you're going with that. I can see where you're going with that. The one thing that sort of gives me a little bit pause. I'm sorry, continue.
I'll just say this, but like, as my argument for the Peacock argument, Peacock has shown to be very unreliable when it comes to WWE content, at least especially live WWE content. They can't do their pay-per-views right. There's always something wrong with that. So why not do something that's a little more reliable when it comes to online streaming, and just doing that on YouTube?
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely where Tony Khan's forward thinking is going to really come into play here and make all the difference. Because like we talked about, unless you're Dave Meltzer or someone who has a lot of experience analyzing and following ratings trends week by week for years and years and years, odds are for most people, ratings aren't going to mean nearly as much as we have traditionally thought they were. At least not the way they were 30 years ago. I'm persuaded that this is not going to be a war fought by week ratings. Like I said,
it's not going to.
This is going to be a battle of long-term consumer confidence, I think.
And from their creativity on their products. Yeah.
Their creativity, their ability to both deliver and give the people what they want, to deliver consistently exciting, engaging shows with fresh new matchups. That's what's going to really put the butts in the seats. I mean, it certainly got our butts in 2 seats. Yeah. So I'm really not convinced that even if this scheduling tussle does end up staying around for a while, I don't know. I'm still convinced that the one who holds their course is going to be the longest, is going to be the one that triumphs in the end.
I think both are going to triumph, really. Like I said, these guys I don't think either one of these companies are going to disappear anytime soon.
Oh, absolutely not. No way.
If at all. It's now just these 2 companies are going to just continue to go on for however long it's going to be. And let's see what they give us. And I think there was a point I was going to go here. In the long, I'm now just more curious on just seeing how these shows in particular is going to be. I actually do think it's going to be pretty close, considering SmackDown was moved to FS1, which usually cuts some people off, which it's shown in the past that there have been viewership drops because it goes to FS1. So I think it's going to be I don't think it doesn't really matter who wins or loses. It's just think like, oh, let's just see how they are compared to one another. And I think it's going to be pretty close. A part of me feels like because WWE is very mainstream and it's just, because they've been around longer, that's just the whole go-to. But yeah, again, it's on FS1. And I feel TNT has better credibility when it comes to closest to mainstream as they can get, as AEW can get compared to FS1.
All right. Well, that is our initial impressions of the Friday Night Skirmish, I guess it's called. Whatever. It certainly isn't a war just yet. But anyway, those are our opinions. Those are our thoughts. Fulia, did you have something else?
I would call it the Friday Night Chess War, because that's what it was. Tony Khan. It was more Tony Khan versus Vince McMahon than anything that either show really had on. It's just like who basically can put on a good show, like what's on the show, and does it keep me from watching it? Because pretty much it was just a flicking back and forth. Because I'm just like, because hell, just that final half hour was Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns' entrance for like 10 minutes. I watched something on Rampage. All right, that segment's over. What's going on? The entrance is still going on? Jesus Christ. All right, let's go back to Rampage. All right, this is good. This is good. Now they're doing their entrances of what was the match? I think that was Ruby Soho versus Bunny. All right, their entrance is ended. All right, right before they start, let's see what's going on in WWE because it's the contract signing. They're still doing their entrances? What the hell is going on? Jesus, why are you wasting our time? Why are you wasting everyone's time? Jesus Christ, you could put so much more content. Back to AEW. Oh, good wrestling. This is good. This is good. Click back. Brock, you're just getting in the ring now? That's it. I'm done. That's pretty much my time of watching that last half hour of SmackDown and the first half hour of Rampage.
Yeah, and I've got a feeling that you're gonna have a lot of people who are agreeing with you on that. But you know what? Let's put it to the test. Let's put it over to you, our fellow wrestling fans, the commentators, the dissers, the hashtag tweeters, whatever you are. We want to hear from you. Yes, the Sparks. Wherever you are, we want to hear from you. So drop us a line all across the internet. YouTube comments, Facebook posts, and our personal favorite. Follow us on Twitter, starting at ScholarsOW for all the latest episode uploads every single week. Or you can also join the conversation on our personal Twitter accounts. Fool, where can I reach you?
You can reach me at the Avataric.
And you can reach me at I'm Robbie Rage. The rest of us will be back in the studio very soon. Until then, we look forward to the next week in wrestling because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
See you all for Crown Jewel, hopefully.
Hopefully it'll be good compared to last ones.